Hey, I come back. But please excuse me if I keep looking at the screen instead of right in your eyes because I'm shooting on a laptop now. All right. Good humans. Whoop. I think I've forgotten how this is done. Right. Let's do that again. You beautiful humans, and welcome back to the channel. If you are a recurring comebacker or a subscriber already, if you have not subscribed to the channel and this is your first time to the channel, thank you for tuning in and welcome to Mo's Corner and another episode of Mo's Money Mondays. I am going to be finishing up the series on retirement funds today, and I'm going to be talking beneficiary funds and guardian funds. Let's roll it. As I mentioned in my last episode eons ago, today I'm going to be discussing beneficiary funds and guardian funds. A reminder that any information I give here should not be construed as advice. If you need any advice of some sort with regards to your finances, please contact an FSCA registered FSP, and you may find them on the FSCA website because they should be on there. Right. Okay, let's get into it. What is a beneficiary fund? So a beneficiary fund is essentially a retirement fund as well, and it's administered by the Pension Funds Act, and it is was put in place to receive benefits from employment funds on behalf of minors who cannot inherit in their own name if they are under 18. Right. So what will happen is if you die, and you have children under the age of 18, and the Board of Trustees will discuss how your monies are supposed to be handled and are going to be distributed, and whatever money that is going to be for the benefit of the children will then go into a beneficiary fund, that money will go into a beneficiary fund that is already chosen by the Board of Trustees, by your employment fund, but that money will go into that beneficiary fund for the benefit of your children, and it can only be accessed in full or claimed when the kids reach the age of 18 right now. So how does it work? The beneficiary fund will be with an FSP, will be administered by an FSP, and as I said, it will be chosen by the people who decide who they want to administer their beneficiary fund, and that money that the beneficiary fund receives will be in the name of the beneficiaries, right? So beneficiary fund will receive the money and they will invest the money for the kids according to how much money was received, according to how much money that they think that will be given to the child per month or on an annual basis for the care of the child, and according to how long they have left before they reach 18 or an age where they will be out of school. Right. So the money that is received in the beneficiary fund, how they look at it is that how would the parent who died have wanted their child to be looked after, right? And if there's a lot of money, then they will support the child accordingly to the lifestyle that they used to, and they will pay that money, and the money will go to a guardian. So a guardian will be able to receive that money on behalf of the children, and they will take care of the children with the money that is paid out to them on a monthly basis or on an annual basis. But otherwise, for ad hoc requirements, like say a once-off school fees, or a child needs a computer sometime in the middle of the year, or they need something that requires outside of the cash that they receive on an annual basis or on a monthly basis, the guardian can then write to the beneficiary fund, and they will require some documentation and proof of what they want and what it costs and all of that, and then if it has merit, then they will pay it over to the guardian or to that service provider or whatever, and then you will be able to get whatever you need for the child. So the administrators of the fund, the point of call is always, how would the parent of the child who has died have wanted their child to be taken care of? Obviously, they will take into account how much money is there, and how long the child has to reach the age of 18 or to be outside of school, because that money has to last for as long as possible. Hi, Nani. Excuse me. Or how long that money will last for the children. Okay. Okay, so what are the regulatory requirements of a beneficiary fund and all of that? So a beneficiary fund essentially functions the same as any other retirement fund, right? It will have a board of trustees, it will have administrators, it will have admin fees, it will have reporting fees, fund expenses, and all of those fees, in-fund fees, that are associated with any retirement fund. It is, as I mentioned before, it is regulated by the Pension Funds Act. It is regulated by the FSCA as well. It has to be registered with the FSCA and be recognized as a beneficiary fund. And it will have fund rules, and all of that good stuff. Right. Okay. So another thing as to the investment of the funds that they receive. So the funds that the beneficiary fund receive will not just be sitting in an account and just gathering dust there, right? Woo! The noise. Please forgive the noise. Um, so the money, depending on how old the child is, the money will be invested according to a table that the beneficiary fund has. So the older the child is, the less risky the investment is going to be, or the less long term that investment is going to be. So if the child is 17 at the point of the parent's death, that money is probably going to be invested in an interesting bearing vehicle, and will be very accessible, and will be very minimally risked. Let me rephrase that. Will be invested in a vehicle that has the most minimal risk of losing that money, right? But if the child is 9 years old, they have another 9 years to 18. So that is, they're going to put that money in a long-term investment, in more equity, in more capital growing vehicles, so that the money they pay out to the child on a month-to-month basis or on an annual basis does not deplete the money that is sitting there. So they have to have a balance on how to grow the money, and also how to invest the money for the child's benefits. And the administrators will already have a table on how they do that, depending on how old the child is and how much money that they receive. Right. Okay, so what are the tax implications of a beneficiary fund? Right. So when a member, the original member of a employee fund dies, you're the parent, you die, and your benefits are paid over to a beneficiary fund. Before any benefits will be paid over at all to any beneficiary, be it to a spouse who will be receiving the money in their own hands, or be it to a beneficiary fund, any taxes that are owed by you will be paid over to SARS, will be paid over to anyone who you owe, and anyone who has a claim at all towards your employee fund. And then that money that is paid into the beneficiary fund will grow tax-free, and any money that will be paid after that to the beneficiaries will be tax-free. Okay. So what is the advantage of a beneficiary fund? And at this point, you may also ask, if the kids also have a living parent, why not just pay that money over to the living parent and not to a beneficiary fund, right? So the advantage of a beneficiary fund is that it's strictly regulated. That money is invested for the benefit of the child and for the benefit of the child alone. So already it takes out that stress on the surviving parent of having to know where to invest the money, how to invest the money, is it the right vehicle that I'm investing the money for the kids for, and all of that. If you're not financially literate, it takes away that burden of you having to figure all that stuff out yourself. It's taken care of. All you have to do is just receive the money on behalf of the kids for every month or annually, and then you take care of the kids, right? And it takes away the because we're all human, right? So it takes away the temptation of having to have a lump sum paid out to you, and then you find out at some point you end up in trouble and you need money quickly and whatnot. So it takes away that temptation of ever having to spend the kids' money on something that is not meant for the kids and that is not going to benefit their future. All right. But if you are very adamant on wanting to receive the money into your hands for the benefits of for the benefit of the children, and you feel like you are financially literate enough to be able to do that, you can write to the board of trustees before they pay over the money, and you can convince them, but they will do their due diligence. So they like, are you going to be tempted to use that money for any benefit that is not for the children? Are you going to be able to invest that money for the kids to be able to last them a long time? So the board of trustees will do their due diligence, and if they feel that you will be able to take care of the children and you'll be able to take care of that money for their benefit, then they may decide to pay over that money directly to you. But you have to like really use that money for the children. But to get away from all of that, the board of trustees will probably just send it to a beneficiary fund, which will receive it and will take care of it. No stress on you. All right. So any disadvantages to this? I mean, the only disadvantage is that they are only able to receive benefits that are from a retirement fund before, so from like an employee related fund, so not from a retirement fund that is in your own name. So employment related fund, and that also the money can only be claimed by the beneficiaries at the age of 18, which I don't see as a disadvantage. I actually think it should be 21. So when the beneficiary turns 18, they are able to claim that money from the fund because they are an adult according to South African law, so they can take care of their own financial shindigs unless they are declared mentally insane, or they are insolvent, or they are bankrupt by any declared that way by law. Then the beneficiary fund will not be able to give them their money. Which brings us to the second topic of today, which is the guardian fund. Da, 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 da. Okay, let's move on to that. So what is a guardian fund? So the guardian fund was created to receive and manage money on behalf of persons who are legally incapable or do not have the capacity to manage their own affairs, right? So where a beneficiary fund can only receive money from an employee-related fund, and only for minors, a guardian fund encompasses everyone else. So if monies are coming straight from a retirement annuity, which is not employee related, it's just in your own name that you can open, go watch my video on retirement funds. I will link it in the description below. Yeah. So the guardian fund will receive money from a retirement fund, any other monies from a will for a person who is not able to take care of themselves. They are legally insane, they are bankrupt or insolvent, or they can't be found, they're missing, or they are unborn, or they are absent, right? So if for some reason the board of trustees from your retirement fund or the the executor of your will cannot find your beneficiaries anywhere at all, nobody's claiming anything from your estate and all of that, that money will be sent over to a guardian fund. So what is a guardian fund? A guardian fund is essentially almost a trust, because it's not a retirement fund, and the money in the guardians fund will be invested in the Public Investment Commission. So the guardian fund is in the hands of the courts, right? It is handled by a master of a court, and at this point there's only 6 masters in the country: in Cape Town, in Pretoria, in Bloemfontein, in Kimberley, Pietermaritzburg, and in Grahamstown. right? But essentially it functions almost the same. Hi, you're in my video, you're going to appear. But essentially it almost functions the same as a beneficiary fund, where a guardian will be able to write into the master, whichever jurisdiction your guardian fund will fall under. The guardian will be able to write to the fund in order for it to be able to pay for the upkeep if it is a minor, if it is unborn children and they're born, in order for the upkeep of those persons, also the persons who cannot take care of themselves or who cannot take care of money. You can write into the fund and claim for their upkeep, right? In terms of persons who are missing or didn't know about the estate and whatnot, the government will advertise very often. They will advertise unclaimed estates in the government gazette. And if a person comes across it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the estate that I should be claiming from, then they can claim from the government, which they will have to prove their identity and they will have to prove their kinness, or their next of kin to the person the person's estate that they're claiming from. But if everything is fine and everything is all right, and you are deemed to be financially solvent and not bankrupt or declared any of that, and you are over the age of 18, then that money can be paid over to you once that is proved. Okay. Here's a disclaimer though: if that money is sitting with government and they cannot find the beneficiary, they cannot find anyone at all to be able to claim that money, and it sits there for 30 years, then that money is lost to the government, and the government will the state, I'm saying government, it is lost to the state, and the state will do with that money whatever they deem they can use it for, right? So if you don't want to lose money and you feel like you may be a claimant to some estate, keep an eye on government gazettes. In terms of taxes and all of that, the monies that will be paid into the guardian fund, if it is from a retirement fund, then that money will be tax-free, will grow tax-free, and that tax will be taken care of. All right, cool. That was a whole lot of mouthful, and this video is getting very long. But if you like this video and you like the content and you would like to see more of the content, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends to tell their friends, to tell their other friends to subscribe to the video, and to subscribe, not to subscribe to the video, wow, to subscribe to the channel, and come back for more information, because next up I'm going to be doing a series, and I'm going to call it Back to Basics, where I will be discussing everything from how, like, being money-wise, budgeting, creating wealth, saving wealth, like all of that basic money stuff, because I think I may have started on a very, very intellectual level. So we're going to take it back, and we're going to come back very, very slowly, right? And I'm going to be holding your hand all the way. Adios, muchachos. Love, peace, and light.